Looks like everybody is going to be winning a Super Bowl someday.
Detroit Lions, Super Bowl champions. From hapless to hopeless to now, finally unbeatable.
When will your favorite team take home their next Lombardi Trophy? Well, here's our latest prediction on when each of the 32 teams will win the Super Bowl. Maybe for the first time or again. Arizona Cardinals, 2045. Look, a lot can change in short time, but we have a tough time seeing the Redbirds winning anything anytime soon. This organization is wasting Kyler Murray's prime years. Owner Michael Bidwell clearly doesn't know how to make big decisions. Hey, if they win it in 2045, their championship drought at least won't hit a full century. Atlanta Falcons, 2047. It's also hard to see the Falcons going anywhere in the short term. This franchise has struggled to build a long-term title contender throughout its history. Problem is, they're simply never bad enough to contend for the first overall pick, which could net them a franchise-changing quarterback. Baltimore Ravens, 2037. If Lamar Jackson were under contract long-term, we'd be tempted to project a title for the Ravens in the next decade. But we don't know if he'll be in Baltimore long-term, and if he'll even stay healthy after another injury-riddled season. So we're throwing caution to the wind and taking a random guess here. We think the AFC is too stacked for the Ravens to win a title over the next decade, but this organization's strong drafting track record tells us they'll be competitive and will come away with a Super Bowl by the end of the 2030s. Buffalo Bills, 2024. We're banking on Josh Allen and the Bills finally breaking through very soon. They've had a bad string of luck in the postseason, but that'll change eventually. With a star-studded roster and a smart front office, the Bills are bound to win a Super Bowl soon. Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl 59 champions. You heard it here first. Carolina Panthers, 2035. The Panthers had their chances with Jake Delhomme and Cam Newton, but fell just short of walking away with football's ultimate prize. Hard to forecast a championship in their future given the lack of direction under David Tepper's ownership, and the Panthers aren't exactly world beaters at developing quarterbacks these days. Eventually, all these years of being awful will land them a franchise QB, who will in turn lead the Panthers to a Super Bowl championship in 2035. Chicago Bears, 2085. 100 years between Lombardi Trophies. What a centennial celebration that would be in the Windy City. Yeah, it's a long time away, but what gives you confidence that this dysfunctional organization is on the right path to becoming a contender? The Cincinnati Bengals, 2027. These Bengals are gonna win a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase at some point in the 2020s. Book it. We'd like to have them down earlier, but there are several other NFL heavyweights that are gonna get their slice of the pie as well, so Cincy faces a tough road ahead. But the wait will be worthwhile when they hold up the Lombardi Trophy at Super Bowl 62. Cleveland Browns, 2043. Hard to say this a long-time dysfunctional organization breaking through in the currently loaded AFC. The Deshaun Watson trade is going to make or break this franchise, and we're already leaning towards the latter. It's tough to pinpoint a timeline on a Super Bowl parade for a franchise with a long-lasting culture of losing, but by 2043, perhaps they'll have broken through with a new core of players after years of loading up on top 5 picks. Dallas Cowboys, 2036. The Cowboys have always been a competitive team under owner Jerry Jones. The problem is they keep finding more and more ways to underachieve, and it's hard to buy into them no matter how talented their roster is. 2036 feels like a realistic time frame for their long-awaited 6th Lombardi Trophy though. By then, they'll be years removed from their current underachieving core. Denver Broncos, 2049. Maybe Sean Payton will find a way to squeeze out a few more Pro Bowl caliber years from Russell Wilson, but it's tough to feel confident in this team following the disaster that unfolded in 2022. So we'll play it safe and make a projection for way down the line. Detroit Lions, 2029. We're playing a dangerous game here by actually projecting the Lions to win something, but you know, we're big fans of the work done by head coach Dan Campbell and GM Brad Holmes up to this point. The Lions have built a fun-loving and passionate culture under these two. Several long-term franchise cornerstone players are in place. Detroit just needs a game-changing quarterback, and they have 6 years to get one. 6 more years, Lions fans. Be patient. Green Bay Packers, 2032. So, the Packers won't win another Lombardi Trophy with Aaron Rodgers, but this is a well-run organization that drafts well and stays competitive year in and year out. We're hesitant to project a title in the 2020s given the amount of heavyweights with young phenom quarterbacks, but it shouldn't be too long before this franchise wins another championship. Houston Texans, 2056. The McCormick are among the worst owners in NFL history. Even if they get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, how do we know that the Texans will properly build a contender around them? them. The 2020s, 2030s, and 2040s shall continue to be rough for Houston. See you in 2056 when each town is finally celebrating football's ultimate prize. Indianapolis Colts, 2044. The Colts have become quite the dumpster fire since Andrew Luck's retirement. Jim Irsay has made too many knee-jerk reactions as owner, and we're just not buying the idea of the Colts winning a Super Bowl under his leadership. Feels safe to believe that this franchise will be waiting at least 2 more decades for another championship. They don't have Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck to mask years of incompetence and awful roster building. Jacksonville Jaguars, 2028. The never-ending losing days in Jacksonville are finally over. Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence revived the franchise in just 1 year, and the Jaguars are only going to get better over time. T-Law lived up to the billing as a generational QB in 2022, but he still hasn't hit his ceiling. Yeah, there are a lot of scary good teams with young phenom QBs in the AFC, but Lawrence will soon be in that same stratosphere. There'll be a few more painful playoff losses, but before you know it, Peterson and T-Law will be on that stage together, hoisting the Lombardi Trophy high above their heads. Kansas City Chiefs, 2025. 2 championships down with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and there is many more to come. We have practically zero doubt that KC will win more Super Bowls with this core. They had to wait 3 years between championships. That trend will continue, but the wait will be worthwhile. The Chiefs won Super Bowl 60 and cement themselves as a dynasty. Las Vegas Raiders, 2053. The Raiders haven't been very relevant since their last Super Bowl championship, so why believe that'll change anytime soon? Raiders fans may wonder why our projection is so far down the line. Well, it's not like every team will win a single Super Bowl over the next 32 years. The Raiders will be waiting a long, long time for their moment in the sun. Los Angeles Chargers, 2034. Very scary picking the Chargers here because they simply just can't be trusted to win big games. But Justin Herbert is a rock star and one of football's best all-around quarterbacks. We like to think that he'll be a Charger for life, and he'll have a John Elway-like moment by leading his team to its first ever Super Bowl in the twilight of his career. Los Angeles Rams, 2038. The Rams went all in from 2017 to 2022 under GM Les Snead. It paid off with 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl 56 title. Realistically, it's going to be a while before the Rams can build a new championship foundation given their lack of cap space and draft capital. But Snead should be trusted to rebuild that foundation. Miami Dolphins, 2031. The Finns will have to wait their turn to emerge from a stacked AFC, but we do project the franchise to win at least 1 Super Bowl with Tua Tagovailoa when all is said and done. Aside from Tagovailoa and Jalen Waddle, Miami is lacking players who look like franchise building blocks for the next decade plus. It'll take a while to build this team into a true championship contender, but 2031 feels like a realistic time frame for Tua and company to bask in championship glory. Minnesota Vikings, 2062. Vikings fans have been through so much pain and heartbreak that they may as well accept that they're headed for at least a century-long Super Bowl drought. The Vikings played their first NFL season in 1961. We are projecting a 101-year title drought until their fortunes finally change. Hopefully, the Twins, Timberwolves, and Wild can fill the void until then. New England Patriots, 2033. I guess we trusted Bill Belichick too much in the post-Tom Brady era. It sure seems like Bill's unable to build a true contender in Foxborough without the GOAT as his QB. Who knows how much longer Belichick will coach? You have to think he'll make sure there's a strong succession plan lined up before he walks away. And that next coach will have hopefully taken away some key lessons from the Patriots' glory days. New Orleans Saints, 2050. This is another complete shot in the dark on our end. Take away the 15 years of Drew Brees and Sean Payton together, and you're looking at a very, very sad football franchise. It may take them a few rebuilds before they finally get back to the promised land. We see at least a 3-decade-long wait until they win their second Lombardi Trophy. New York Giants, 2041. We like where the Giants are heading under head coach Brian Daboll, but it's just tough to see them winning a title without an elite QB. So, why did we put them down as your 2041 world champs? Well, it'll be the 30-year anniversary of their Super Bowl 46 championship. New York Jets, 2068. Because Jets fans can't have nice things, how about a sad prediction that they wait exactly 100 years between Super Bowl titles? 1968 is when Joe Namath led the underdog Jets to championship glory. Why shouldn't 2068 be the year of the next big celebration in Gotham? Philadelphia Eagles, 2026. No need to fear, Eagles fans. We know Super Bowl 57 was a heartbreaker, but the Eagles will rise from the ashes and fly again. Jalen Hurts is a superstar, as are A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. There are zero flaws in this roster, and with the NFC lacking in bona fide contenders, the path is there for Philly to win multiple championships. The Eagles are your 2026 world champs. Pittsburgh Steelers, 2030. The Steelers have built up a promising young nucleus under Mike Tomlin. If Kenny Pickett is the real deal, this Pittsburgh team could win multiple Super Bowls over the next decade. But again, there are just way too many dangerous teams in the AFC. It's hard to forecast the Steelers winning a title before the other AFC heavyweights, but sometime over the next 10 years feels pretty realistic. San Francisco 49ers, 2023. Who knows? Maybe the 49ers win Super Bowl 57 if Brock Purdy doesn't injure his elbow in the NFC title game. Look, buy the hype around these 49ers. They are absolutely loaded with depth and star power across the board. Be it Brock Purdy or Trey Lance, the 49ers are bound to win a title real soon. In fact, we're locking them in as our early pick to win Super Bowl 58. Seattle Seahawks, 2046. I'm just having a tough time seeing the Seahawks competing with the big boys across the NFL. They are on a promising path in the post-Russell Wilson era, but they need an elite QB to realistically win a title in the coming years. I expect their title drought to last at least a couple of more decades, until they get their hands on a truly generational QB somehow. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2039. The Bucs won 18 years between their two Super Bowl titles. We'd like to continue the trend, but our crystal ball tells us that the Rams are winning Super Bowl 73. So let's push it to 19 years between the Bucs' second and third titles. Perhaps by the mid-2030s, they'll have signed another GOAT near the end of his career, kind of like they did with Tom Brady in 2020. Tennessee Titans, 2048. The Titans don't have a winning culture, and their window from the Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry era is now closed. But our fortune tellers informed us that 2048 is in fact their year. We were told just to wait and see how it all plays out, so I guess come visit us here in 25 years. Washington Commanders, 2070. It could be decades till the Commanders move on from the pain, shame, and humiliation of the toxic Dan Snyder era. You just don't recover from atrocious and embarrassing ownership right away. This team has been a train wreck without Joe Gibbs as the head coach. So yeah, we're pretty confident that we'll see another 47 plus years without a championship in DC. But when do you think your favorite team will win their next Super Bowl? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.